take your Prophet as a role model. Alright? Take what he says, take what his companions have said, because they are on Siratul Mustaqim. There may be millions and billions of opinions about what life is. Everyone has an opinion about what life is. That maybe everyone's opinion, it kind of makes sense to a certain degree. Especially if they post it on Facebook and they put some pictures, they put some quote. Some people, they like to quote themselves. But it doesn't mean that it is true. It doesn't mean that it is right. And it doesn't mean, even if it were true or right, is it true and right according to the creator of truth? Do you understand? So as people who are walking on the way of truth, what is this life? What is this life? Oh, you're getting there. It's something, but it's not what it's cracked up to be. Correct? Good. And if you go a little bit deeper, and then you're going to say this life, this dunya, Turks, they say what? Yalan dunya. It's lying. It's not only an illusion, it lies to you. You go a little bit deeper. Coming 10 o'clock, Murids. I'm going to see if Murids are not coming by 8:30. I'm going to lock the door now. Once a week, you cannot sit a little bit. Okay, even if I come at 9 or 10 o'clock to sit and to make the zikr, what is so busy that is on a Friday night that you have to do? Outside. You have to make millions. Your millions is not going to be blessed for you. You cannot sit for 1 hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes just to pull your tasbih and to sit and to wait. Maybe the secret is going to come before the Shaykh comes. You don't know that. Maybe the angels are going to say who is here. Are they coming with the right attitude? And they're going to give you the grade already, the score, and then they leave. Doesn't matter what happens after. Isn't it the same as the Jummah prayers? The one who comes to the masjid early, he gets the reward as if he sacrificed a whole camel that he can feed maybe 100 people. But the ones who came after the imam, after the khatib enters, he's not even on the list, on the record. On the day of judgment, they're saying you are not there. He says, no, I came. There's no record. Because after the imam enters, the angels guarding the doors, they close the book and they come inside to listen to the imam. Why, you think there are no angels outside these doors? So it is for everyone. So, you dig a little bit deeper, then you understand. What is this life? This life, it is a separation. This is a separation. We are in exile. You have a home, correct? You have everything there that you say is what makes this to be a home. You have to travel. Travel everywhere. You can even be entering into the palaces of kings and sultans and presidents. But where is your heart going to be? Home. Because you are separated. The whole problem is, man is not remembering that they are separated from the original home. When you don't remember that, you start to make this dunya as if it is going to be your eternal home. Because you forget about your eternal home. Then because this dunya, nobody lives forever, so everyone panics and say, I only have this much time, so I cannot share. This is mine. What is yours is also mine. Because I have to go. I have to leave this for my children. You don't share. Which is why sharing zakat is a pillar of our faith. Other things you're saying, oh, it's so spiritual to pray, to go to Hajj, to fast. But giving money seems very dunya, but that's when you look at it with these eyes. When you look at it with these eyes, it is a very spiritual, very important practice that turns your heart away from this dunya, from the material of this dunya, to say, oh, nothing belongs to me. This doesn't belong to me. You earn it, halal. It doesn't belong to you. Not everything belongs to you. At least you say, what? 2.5%? 1 out of 40, correct? It's not my haqq. If you eat it, you're going to get cursed. It belongs to other people. Then you say, why only 2.5? Look at my neighbor over there. Look. So now your sense of charity, your sense of zakat, giving, generosity starts to rise according to your faith. Then you say 2.5. That's the. I know some people there. Very particular. Only 2.5, not more than that. Some they say I cannot give 2.5 every year because the condition is the asset has to remain. So I'm going to switch it from here to here to here so that I don't have to pay. So your heart now is pulling to that. That thing there now, it is in your heart, it is locked. Yet what's going to happen when you die in the grave? Islamic way, you cannot bring nothing into the grave. Nothing. What about knife, suit and tie? No. It's not for the dead, it's for the living. Nothing but a white coffin that you're going to wrap around and you're going to put there. So this world, as Maulana Rumi Qaddasallahu Sir is saying, it is a separation, it is exile. When you are not just separated, you are in exile, you are very sad. You are depressed. Because you are separated. Separated from your reality, from that happiness, from that joy. You're in love with someone, but you're separated from that someone. You may be in the Sultan's palace. Are you going to enjoy it? Nothing. Everything will taste bitter and tasteless until you're together with that one. When you're together with that one, you can be in a cave, but everything tastes beautiful. Say.
How can you just give up on everything? Just, I mean, what is anything worth? Just
Right.
there's no striving for anything, no nothing. It's like you're dead as if you're alive, but you're dead.
No. You are going to be like those ones whom Allah loves, and they love Allah. That they're going to be more alive than others are, as the Prophet was in the cave of Hira. As all those holy people are in their own cells, in their own caves, as Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam was, that his inner eye is going to be open to the reality of creation, not to this. No. You're going to be depressed and you're going to be unhappy looking at the condition of this world. You are going to be separated and you want to join. You want to be in reunion with that one. But you are accepting the fate that is coming to you. As the Prophet ﷺ was. He is separated from his Lord. He is unhappy. I'm using those words depressed and everything because, and even the word anxiety, because those things are, people are using those words, tossing them around now. But most of the time when you see what they're depressed about or they're anxious about, it deals with dunya. It is not with akhirat. To make them to understand it is that kind of feeling that you're going to have. but it is not something that pulls you down. It is not debilitating. It is something that raises you. And this is when you come to certain paradoxes in spirituality, where you're between hope and fear. You have to have both. You don't think you're like that and you just have entire hope, just complete hope. No. Or just complete fear. No, you don't have. You're in between hope and fear. As the Prophet ﷺ, now look at him. He is our role model. You understand? Was he sad for the nation? Yes, he was. He was sad for the nation. His sadness and his concern, it is not for himself, although he went through so much hardship. He's accepting it. Like I said, those ones then, that they're following those ways properly, they are not sad for themselves, they're sad for others. They are happy and they are accepting. But they're seeing now the whole world, it is moving towards hellfire. It is moving towards destruction now. Isn't it interesting that although this that we are saying, pull yourself back, this dunya, it is a lying dunya, this is nothing new. Prophet had said it 1400 years ago, 1000 years ago, 800 years ago, 500 years ago, 200 years ago, 100 years ago. Now, we're saying it all this time. Yet, when you look at Islamic civilization, we're not stuck in the caves. We've never been stuck in the cave. Holy Prophet ﷺ came out from the cave, went to Medina, and he conquered Mecca. They conquered Egypt, they conquered Persia, and it went on conquering the whole world and conquering hearts now. Isn't it a paradox now that we're saying, the Prophet is saying, look at this world. It means nothing. It has less value. Yet they conquer everything. As Maulana is saying, what? The difference between what is in my hand and what is in my heart. The whole point is not to have it in your heart now. Because the fakir in the way of tasawwuf also, the one who is poor in the way of tasawwuf, is not just you wear raggedy clothes like today some people, they have money, but just to show that they are fakir, you know. They get a khirqa and they sew their own patches to show that they are poor. All that is for show. What is the real meaning of fakir? To say that whatever that we're doing, all our worship and everything, it means nothing. We're poor because we're in need of the mercy of Allah. It means nothing. So, what they're trying to tell, especially the Muslims these days, is that Islam is making you backward, especially spirituality, especially anything that says to you, don't run after the dunya, stay. You see, that's why Muslims, they are backwards. That's why Muslims, they are back, and the West, they're in front. How long more are we going to believe in this lie? How long more are we going to swallow all this propaganda? How did the West get rich? If it's not because of the riches of the East that they stole, and it pumped up the Industrial Revolution, after destroying the economy, the morale and the civilization of the East, and making sure that they never come back up again to remain on top. It is such a big deal to get this technology of this dunya. It's not. 1950s. Whole world was different. Correct? Where was China? Where was India? Where was the Middle East? Nothing. 50 years, let's give it another 20 years, 70 since in 2018. 70 years later, where is China? About to swallow the whole world. Where is India? India is already there. Where is the rest of the world that is sheltering under China and India? They're rising up. So to get the technology of the world and knowledge of the world, it is not that difficult. It is very easy. So now there's a big question mark there. Why did it take us so long to do it? It's not because we don't have that spirit of innovation. We don't have that spirit to take something that is new and to better our lives, because Islamic civilization has taught that the Muslims have always been at the forefront of looking for something new. That Islam is saying, look for that lost knowledge and make your lives to be better. But don't take that knowledge to make your lives to be better, breaking the backs of others. So there's a balance there. You understand? Because to take that technology is not that difficult. 50 years it can be done. Whatever is taking them hundreds of years to come to, in 50 years it can be done. Less than that, actually. If you look at how it's only in the last, since maybe the 80s, that things are moving so much forward, then it makes you to ask the question, why it took so long? Oh, they were not given this. All this was held back. Either held back literally, they say, no, you're not going to get this technology, or they're going to put certain elements in that country that they colonize to pull them back, not to make them to come up, whether they're using national ideologies, or they're using religion, or using culture. Yeah? But they're going to put, to make sure that, okay, this is always going to be on top, this is always going to be in need now. And we're going to use politics. What is China doing now? It says, no. We're not interested in politics. We're not interested in promoting communism per se. What we're interested in is making money. Now, who wants to make money? There's a lot of money to be made. Doesn't matter. You are this or you're this, you're Muslim, it doesn't matter. No one, let's sit down and you make money. The others, they are saying, no, you have to belong to my ideological camp. To be able for me to give you this kind of technology and knowledge. Either you have to be communist or you have to be capitalist, which in reality communism and capitalism is both sides of the same coin. So 1400 years, you never see big groups of people or the majority going into the caves and just contemplating, entering into that reality. You cannot anyway. And if they did, that's very good. This world is not going to be in a mess like it is now. So we're running after this world to be developed, this world to have comfort. But we must sometimes pull our heads out from this American mindset, because we are only able to enjoy, to have this level of comfort, by taking away the resources of so many people living in this world right now. You don't believe that? It is true. Now, as a person of faith, what are you going to say? You're not going to say, well, what can I do? As a person of faith, you're going to say, Ya Rabbi, Shukr, Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah. The shoes that you made, kids younger than 7 years old, they're making it for pennies a day, that they're under complete tyranny, so that you can wear those nice shoes, clothes that you wear. The heat, everything that you consider to be the comfort that is just common here, it is riding on the backs of who? The innocent ones. Isn't that enough for you to say that now, what comfort of this world, what joy of this world? This modern world, it is built on tyranny and cruelty. It is built on that. Now, because to have a system, a capitalist system that is based on interest, it is cruelty, it is tyranny, no? And it is forbidden. Maybe 100, 200 years ago, there were not too many people who were rich, who were wealthy. But they were not slaves to the capitalist system like we all are today. And they were not being direct tyrants to each other. What happens now? They die. This whole will finish. Finish. Means nothing. But they leave as clean ones. We think this world is something. We take this world as something. That time if we leave, if we're not clean, we're in very big trouble. Because now in Islam, like I said, there is a priority. First, your priority is akhirat. Then, if it is given to you, your responsibility to take care of the dunya, you must take care of that as well. Your priority is akhirat, but you must take care of whatever that is around you. Your priority is akhirat. You're a sultan, but your primary responsibility is what? A sultan. The sultan must govern. Now, what good is a sultan if he just worships so much that the whole empire now is crumbling? You understand? The sultan has to administer, he has to govern, but according to what? According to the law and the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Sharia of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Not different ideologies now. So that one, he's not governing according to Shariat. He's not governing according to Allah and His Prophet. He's being a slave of the system, but he worships. He recites Quran. He does her. So what? You pray, you don't pray. That's between you and Allah. It's none of my business. I'm not going to interfere. Correct or no? What we have a right to interfere and to say is that you are the one who governs. You're supposed to govern. And you're not doing that. You're not upholding the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's something that's going to be questioned. Now, there are times when you need to pull yourself back. There are times you need to put yourself forward. Like I said, these are our role models. Can we carry what the Prophet carried? Definitely not. Can we carry what the Sahabi-Kiram they carry? No, we're not. There is something, and the West, I see a lot of sometimes Western scholars of Islam also say, oh, of course, all these things is impossible to do. With that tone, we're saying these things, they're impossible to do. Meaning with that tone, two different words, two different tones, same words. Huh? One is not saying, one is saying, it's impossible to do that. I mean, it's idealistic. It is basically stupid. The other one is saying, it is impossible to do that. Meaning that we cannot even come close to their level of faith. It was possible. They did it. And there are still people who did it. But it's showing now our own weakness that we're not able to do it. And because of that, we are paying the highest respects to them. And we are aiming now to take them as a role model. Not to say, oh, it's impossible, so just throw it aside. This is what a lot of Western scholars, they are saying also. Oh, it's impossible to do. It's not impossible. There are people today still that they're pulling themselves into caves. They're pulling themselves into their quiet, secluded areas. And it has always been for 1400 years. And the sultans would go to their feet and say that we understand you are the one who has the power of this dunya. You are the one who has inherited the power to split the moon, to make the stars to fall, to make the trees to bow down. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given this power to the awliya Allah. They're still holding it. When people had faith, when Khalifah was still ruling, when there was permission, there is a show from time to time to show that Allah because you are following the way of Allah and His Prophet in your heart, you are going to see the proof of that. When the Khilafat fell, there was no permission for the awliya Allah to show their miracles anymore. They say those ones now that they have real faith, they are going to understand, and when it's necessary, they're going to see. But because the majority, they have sunk into disbelief, into no faith, even if you show them something, they're going to say, it's because of this, it's because of that. It's finished. Don't you know? They made a movie, a few years ago, about Musa alayhi salam. A millennial movie about Musa alayhi salam. They're trying to say the miracles, the mujizat that Musa alayhi salam is splitting the sea, the water turning to blood, all these things. They say, oh, it's just nature, something happened, and it's just something that's natural, and people are saying it is a miracle that is happening. Look, everything that is, what is the nature of mujizat? What is the nature of karamat? That is something that is beyond the laws of physics and beyond the laws of nature. But at every level that you go, there is another law that is there. There is also an explanation, yes, how certain things are able to be done. But when the mind and the heart doesn't understand, doesn't want to understand, it rejects. That time, the moon can be split, the sun can land on the right hand and the moon on the left, and they will still not believe. They will still not believe. As I believe it was Abu Jahil. He took something in his hand, he put it behind his body, and he went up to the Prophet and he's saying, if you're a prophet, tell me what is behind me, what I have in my hands. Prophet smiling and saying, oh, father of ignorance, why don't you turn around, open your hands, and listen to what those stones in your hands have to say. He turned around, he opened his hands, and the stones were saying, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Over and over again. He dropped it, he turned to the Prophet and he says, you are a great magician. You understand? So, don't worry. Nothing is going to happen to you. Nothing is going to happen to this world when there are people who stop everything and they're just remembering Allah. In fact, this world will run much better because everything that is happening in this world, yes, it is a miracle. Don't you think it is a miracle that we're still breathing this air, that we're still alive? Don't you see how many madmen there are ruling this world right now? Not just now. Every time since the fall of the Khilafat, since they had all these weapons of mass destruction, that it is a miracle that this world, this earth is still standing. Don't you think they never pushed that? They pushed it so many times, it didn't work. They understand too. They understand the power, where it's coming from. You will see them time to time trying to. Anyway, don't worry about not being able to live life to the fullest, or making this world into a better place for you and I. It all comes to this is part of the meaning. Prophet went for Miraj and he came back. You can never just go to Miraj and stay there. Everything. You have to come back. You go to the cave, you have to come back. And every prophet, as every Khalifah that is taking the position of the prophets, they always, all of them, they have a humble skill. Some of them, they're calligraphers. Some, like Sultan Alamgir, he was knitting kufis for a living. Some, like Sultan Abdul Hamid Khan, he was making furniture, something humble. They are doing, because that part of mankind also has to be concerned with the dunya, because our Prophet did that. You understand? We are not following one. That is, for example, Isa alayhi salam. That is impossible. And his mission is not complete anyway. They're trying to mimic him, not get married, not do anything, Is it working? Not working. Never worked. You understand? But the Prophet ﷺ, the mercy that he is, he's knowing how we're going to be in the Akhir Zaman. And he says, look, it's not only me. Look at Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq. He is the one that is honored as the second of the two in the cave. The third one is Allah. He became the Khalifah. First day they became the Khalifah, because he was a merchant, textile, fabric. He took one roll, he put it on his shoulder, and he went to the marketplace. He's saying, Ya Khalifah. I said, what are you doing? He says, I have to eat too. My family has to eat too. I have to trade. He was a trader. I said, no, from now on we're going to give you something from the Baitul Mal, so that your job is not to trade, your job is to govern. So every Sahabi now, and every saint, they have something that they are doing, coming from the prophets also, that is tying them up from this world. But the difference is, they're not trying to become millionaires and billionaires. In fact, they're not trying to look for the happiness of this world. They're not trying to. It's a very big, yes, it's a very big test. Don't ask for it. Because many will fail. That is just entering into the oceans of what it means to be in the path of love. Like I said, and your heart is broken. It has to. And Allah is saying, only I have to exist. Wa min Allahu tawfiq al-Fatiha.